Welcome to the Seahawkers podcast with your hosts, Adam Emmert.
Do you want to bet on Earl Thomas being awesome for the next 2 or 3 years or not awesome?
And Brandan Schultz.
Man bun visor, short shorts, flute dance. That's the trifecta of awesome.
Go Hawks!
This is episode 206 of the Seahawkers podcast. I'm Brandan Schultz of the Military Seahawkers. Joining me, my good buddy, Montana Seahawker Adam Emmert.
Yeah, Montana Seahawker. I can't wait to get back to the Montana part of the country. Yeah, doing this from sweltering Louisiana right now, which is miserable.
Well, you got to have a little fun out on town in New Orleans the other day, so I'm not feeling too sorry for you.
2 nights in New Orleans. That was pretty fun and pretty drunk. No, actually ended up meeting some really cool people down there and having a really fun time hanging out for 2 nights. But yeah, I think, about a week here down south, and I've had enough south.
You anywhere for more than 3 days, you've had enough. So I know you, man.
Yeah.
Well, we do have some Seahawks talk. One of the good things about taking such a long break, we have all kinds of news saved up. There's things that we were talking about pre-show where Adam goes, geez, did we... That seems like forever ago. Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago. It's been a little while. Well, this is maybe our longest break that we've taken since, 2013 offseason.
It's been a real struggle. This has been maybe our hardest stretch to really pull it together.
And it's really come at the perfect time because there's really nothing going on. I mean, Minicamp's going on. Pete Carroll's hyping up every single player on the team. Earl Thomas is holding out. That's probably the biggest news. But and John Ryan's going to make John Schneider look stupid, apparently.
And then there's all the continuous articles of about how bad this season's going to be. So that's really fun, too. Oh, and the top 100 list.
Top 100 list. Visor Nation lashing back at Adam for your commentary about visors in the last show.
It sounds like their brains don't work right because they catch too much sun on the top of their head and it heats it up too much in there. That's what it sounds like to me.
They'll be interested to hear even more from you, I guess, because if they're going to come back at you, you're not just going to take it.
Well, which way do you think I'm going to go on this, Brandon? Do you think I would backtrack or double down?
No,
what's your gut say?
have you ever backtracked on anything? Let me think.
Oh yeah, I have.
Okay,
I've definitely said I was wrong-ish.
Yeah, I would say maybe 2% of the time. But we'll get into it.
The problem is I'm just so right all the time. Like, that's the hard part.
It's so hard being so right.
Yeah, Eddie Lacy.
You are going to continue that. Well, let's kick things off because Minicamp is a time for the Seahawks, particularly Pete Carroll, to hype up all the players on the team. Essentially, I think that's all it's for, because you listen to any of the Pete Carroll press conferences, he's not going to say anything negative about anybody. This is the time to hype your guys up and to start getting in the swing of things before you do have that 6-week break before training camp starts. And you want to get guys motivated to actually work in those 6 weeks. But also, it is their off time for the off season.
It'd be refreshing for a coach to come out at some of these mini camps and just be like, 3 guys looked freaking terrible. They looked awful. Even if they were great, even if they were great, just say 4 or 5 guys were just garbage.
Right.
Just so it's something different. That'd be awesome.
Pick 3 dudes and say, these guys have so much to work on. I'm really concerned that they're even have a chance at making the team.
Russell Wilson looks like he might need to retire. He's awful. Just say that. And talk to us and be like, hey, I'm just going to screw with the media a bit here. So
that would carry the next 6 weeks for the media if he said something like that about Russell.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson don't get along. All this Tom Brady, Bill Belichick garbage that's going on right now. Oh, my God.
Oh, it's so fun. Tom Brady goes on Oprah, and all of a sudden, everything that we've been hearing about Tom Brady the last, since the season ended, is brand new again.
Yeah, well, if it comes on the Oprah show, then, it's important.
Yeah, Tom Brady, closer to retiring than not.
Oh, and then he goes on social media and posts that he's going to retire at 45. And oh, my stars, that's a shot at Bill Belichick. Okay. How is that a shot at Bill Belichick? You think if he's playing awesome up until he's 44 and 45, Bill Belichick is going to be mad he has to deal with Tom Brady?
Oh, no.
Come on.
Another great year to look forward to from Tom Brady, sure.
Yeah, man.
How tough is this going to be to deal with?
Yeah, a whole, third of my football team I don't have to worry about, the offensive side of the ball. I just don't have to worry about it because Tom's got this. Somehow, some way, they're going to find a way to make that work. Much like I think somehow, some way, the Seahawks and Earl Thomas are going to make things work.
But before we get to Earl, we have to recognize all the hype that Pete Carroll dished out. And maybe I might need to quiz you on this, but just listen to how many guys he praises. I cut it up. I cut up his press conference, and this is just from one of them. I could go on and cover more of this in the next couple of weeks, but here was his initial press conference. Just listen to the guys that he calls out in this, and pay particular attention, Adam, to the guy that he hypes up the most in this commentary.
What's really jumped out is Chris Carson. Chris has looked incredible the whole time, the whole entire offseason. He hasn't missed one snap of anything. He's just looked so fit, and he's just so cut and quick and explosive and all that. He might be the guy that really, when you look at everybody, he's the guy that jumps out. Doug and Russell had really good work up to now. They have really been the best they've ever been. Dwayne Brown has looked phenomenal throughout the camp. I mean, he has just looked great. Jeremy Reed has been at his best. Ethan Posick came back 20 pounds heavier after a really great offseason of work. I can keep going. There's a lot of guys, but those guys were really the guys that are kind of at the top of it. But CJ has really jumped out, too. He's looked good now. He's battling. And J.D. McKissick is a fantastic competitor on our team, And what's really jumped out is George could probably get out now if we need him to, but it's just not worth it to do that. He's had, he's had 2 years of lifting and getting the strength training in order. He looks great. He's just so cut and quick and explosive and all that. I mean, he has just looked great. Fantastic competitor on our team, and consistency, hard-nosed, tough guy, got good speed, really good speed. He's been really comfortably involved with everything. He just looks like he's a veteran. He grew a ton out of that last season. I mean, he's had a great body of work that he put together here in this offseason getting ready. So he might be the guy that really, when you look at everybody, he's the guy that jumps out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What else jumps out to you, Brandon, from the press conferences? Because I like how he says that everything jumps out, like it just like pops out of the bushes and scares you. Like Chris Carson looks great and is like it just kind of freaks you out because it just jumped out at you.
But I mean, about 30, 40 seconds just on George Fant alone, Adam.
Oh, man. The Kool-Aid. He mixed up a big old batch of it, of the Fant Berry Kool-Aid.
Actually, if you're paying close enough attention, I cut up, I took all of the praise from the other players and just spliced it in for George Fant.
Thanks for the fake news, Brandon.
Hey, I was just having a little fun. I mean, it's the offseason.
Did you enjoy that? Yeah. Well, good.
But I mean, he ran down the list. Chris Carson, and actually, really, Chris Carson was probably the guy that he spent the most time on. Good 15 seconds of that clip just right at the beginning. Talked about Doug and Russell, talked about Dwayne Brown, Jaron Reed, Ethan Posick, CJ Prosise, J.D. McKissick. So 3 of those guys are running backs. Yeah,
when your whole focus and messaging this year is to get back to running the football, of course, everything he's going to be talking about is preaching about how things are getting better in the run game, how it's going to get better. Everything about the run game is improved. The guys are improved. Everybody's better. It's going to be amazing.
He is talking, though, and one other clip that I had for him is Pete Carroll talks about how different the energy is around there. And I guess when you lose guys like Michael Bennett and Cliff Avrill's not there and Jimmy Graham's gone and Richard Sherman, it's going to feel a little bit different. And he talks about there being kind of a new energy in minicamp.
I think that there's a sense of energy that is there's some newness. You can feel it, and I really appreciate that the guys are in that mentality. There's some opportunities for positions and openings and stuff that are available, and you can feel them. They know, and they know what we're looking for. We spent a lot of time talking about what's important to us as a staff as we're trying to put our team together, the mentality that they need to bring, and the energy they need to bring, and the consistency they need to bring. And these guys matched the criteria there and gave themselves a good shot. It's going to be a very, very competitive camp and with a lot of really exciting spots to watch, and it's going to be fun to see how it goes.
Were you yawning during Pete Carroll's press conferences now?
Yeah, I really am. So basically that's code for, I'm going to diffuse your story about there being a lot of guys gone with, well, no, now we have a new good energy, and so it's going to be better. That's what that is. It's just spin. That's all these press conferences are, man.
That's what we're here for in the offseason. That's all it is.
I'm not here for that.
That's what the team's going to put out.
Well, I know that's what the team's going to put out. That's what every team puts out, and that's what everybody reports on. And it just is what it is. And that's fine. I think that it's easy at this time of year to listen to the national media and get super bummed out on any given day about this team, and then listen to Pete and John and everybody else talk and the coaches and Russ talk and get a little overly pumped about all this.
Yeah.
You
really need to be about somewhere in the middle.
Think about it in these terms. I mean, this team is different, but the last half of the year, this team was different.
It was very different.
Right. And now you have some actual young guys, a few guys that came in as free agents to compete as well. And so you got to think that they're going to be better than the team that finished the year, but maybe not quite as good as the team from the year or two previous.
Sure.
I think that's a reasonable expectation.
Yeah, not that you can count on, because they could come out and, the young players that are brought in, the young players going into their second year, they could make huge jumps, and it could surprise many of us too.
Or take steps back.
Right.
I feel like this first half of this season is going to be a difficult one for Seahawks fans, only because the way the schedule works out with road and home games, being it's so loaded with road games early on with a young team trying to gel and come together. I would imagine in the traditional slow starts that this team has under Pete Carroll, I think we could be looking after about week 6 at 2-4 or 3-3, something like that. And the media just, driving they basically are putting a headstone on top of the grave of the Seahawks at that point. But then the second half of the season, see them going on a run and finishing that 10-win category yet again, and probably be in the playoffs and probably take a division title. Because I don't see the Niners as I'd seen an article written by somebody at The Ringer, and they're talking about the Earl Thomas holdout, and they were talking about how different the team was going to be and what the Seahawks are focusing on. And he's like, and the 49ers may have overtaken the Seahawks in talent.
Really?
Shut your dirty mouth. Are you freaking kidding me? The year previous, they might have been the least talented roster in all the NFL, or right close to that.
The 49ers probably have more talent on the defensive line. I'm trying to think of another position group. Definitely not receiver. Definitely not linebacker.
Maybe offensive line?
Yeah, maybe.
But Gary Gilliam's also one of your starters.
Right.
So,
their starting linebackers are guys that couldn't stay on our team with Malcolm Smith and Brock Coyle.
Correct. And not only that, but then, you're banking on a track record of 4 games with Jimmy G being he's the man.
Yeah.
And he's equal to Russell Wilson, the man who came in 11th on the top 100. And you've got people like Anthony Barr saying he should have won the MVP. And you're going to tell me the Niners have caught up and surpassed the Seahawks in talent? Come on, man.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't even going to talk about the quarterback position.
I know. That's the most important position, the cherry on top of the argument. It's come on, man.
Yeah.
So I don't see the doom and gloom in the big, huge leaps in competitiveness of the 49ers. And then I've talked about the Rams ad nauseum. You guys don't need to hear my rant about that again.
No, and we're going to be talking to those two teams, their podcasts coming up in the next few weeks as we get back to our Know Your Rival series. So we'll be knee deep in Rams and 49ers probably the next few weeks.
Baron James, I can't wait to talk to those guys and really kind of let them know exactly how their season's going to go, because I don't think they know how it's going to go. I don't think they've been told.
Yeah, they need to have some reasonable expectations on the season, and just a reminder that they haven't yet won the Super Bowl, even though in the eyes of the media that they're already playing in that game.
If I had a nickel for every time I saw a Rams article about them being the next great team and how they've already basically supplanted the Seahawks in this division and all that, man, holy crap, I'd stop working tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, Jared Goff, quarterback in the under-25 team.
Well, who are your other options, really?
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, you can't trust his knees.
Dak Prescott.
Yeah, him and Goff, like, those are reasonable. I'd probably take Dak over Goff. Okay.
Like, those are your only two guys that really you can put in that conversation, unless you're going down like Mitch Trubisky or one of the rookies.
Definitely none of the rookies.
Let's get to Earl Thomas, because he did hold out from minicamp. He released a statement in the hours ahead of minicamp saying, "I will not be attending the upcoming minicamp or any team activities until my contract situation is resolved. I want everyone, especially the 12s, to know that I want to remain a Seahawk for the rest of my career. But I also believe that based on my production over the last 8 years, that I've earned the right to have this taken care of as soon as possible. I want to have certainty in regards to the upcoming years of my career. I'm going to continue to work my craft and put in the work so I can add to the team and give us the best chance to win. I hope my teammates understand where I'm coming from. I believe this is the right thing to do. E.T."
Keep getting them checks, Earl. I don't know. I've seen some people have a lot of hand wringing over this and think it's a really large deal. I don't think it matters one iota that he wasn't at minicamp. I'm pretty sure Earl Thomas knows how to prepare. I think he knows how to run the defense. I think he'll be just fine by the time he gets back. I guess I would start to become concerned if he starts missing preseason games. That's when I would start to get concerned. But anything up to that, it just gives all the younger players time to go out there, get more experience. Honestly, I don't know exactly when it's going to get resolved, but at the end of the day, if you're the Seahawks, you pay them.
I just think that this is really early to freak out about this. I mean, we've seen, you look across the league, and David Johnson's holding out for the Cardinals. Aaron Donald's holding out for the Rams. I mean, Julio Jones is probably the craziest one holding out from the Falcons, who has 3 years left on his contract. Earl has 1 year left on his contract. This is the time that the Seahawks do deals for guys that are going into the end of their contract. I mean, KJ Wright could be another guy that's out there. You see Frank Clark sit out the voluntary stuff, and he wants a contract going into his last year of his rookie deal. I mean, this is the way that what's the argument that you see people throw out the most with regard to players holding out? They say, you signed a contract, so play for it, honor your contract. And really, this is, if you're going to bring contract argument into this, the CBA is part of the contract that allows the players to do things like hold out.
Well, I mean, they're not allowed to per se. I mean, he's still going to get
penalties. It spells out there's penalties. It lays out the rules of the game for negotiations, and this is part of the negotiations.
My sense of it is that I think the Seahawks do want to pay Earl, and I think they do want to keep him around, because it's really hard to find somebody that plays the game like Earl does and base your defense around the way that we play defense is very much structured around Earl Thomas being able to, cover up Area 29 and just be that human eraser back there so you can play man to man, freeing up Bobby and KJ in the middle. And for them, with their speed and the way that they coverage to, swallow everything up there, like, it all starts with Earl in the back. And to me, I think they're going to end up paying him. But I think the only reason that they're waiting on this is that the other bigger name safeties that are free agents right now have yet to be paid. And so somebody's going to set the market dollar for this year, right? With safeties. And if you're the Seahawks, what you're hoping is Trey Boston signs or Eric Reed signs somewhere else. And it brings a continuation of the decline in salaries in the safety market. And so now you have a benchmark that says, okay, the value of safeties right now is a little lower than it was when Eric Berry got his deal. So we'll give you more money, but we're not giving you Eric Berry money because check out what other people are getting. The value of safety has gone down. It's all about leverage and negotiation.
Sure.
And like that's what they're doing. They're waiting for one of these other players to set the market, and then they can go to Earl, because if they pay Earl first, he's the one setting the market and he's a primetime player. So if none of these other guys have signed, you're going to have to pay him higher than Eric Reed.
Well,
Eric Berry, I'm sorry.
Well, don't you look at Tyrann Mathieu and the deal that he got with the Texans as kind of setting the market for the offseason? Because I don't know if Trey Boston necessarily, is he going to get more than Tyrann Mathieu? Or do you slot him under that? So maybe the market's been set. And I think to Earl, the market has been set. And it was with Eric Berry with the Chiefs when he signed his 6-year, $78 million deal. And he's getting $13 million per year. So Earl's saying, hey, I'm the top safety. Pay me upwards of 13 mil. And yeah, I'll sign. Make me the top paid safety.
Yeah, it was set for that year a few years ago. And the overall market value's gone down.
Right. And that's why I think it makes this so difficult for these two sides to come together in this. That's why I don't think it'll happen until the offseason. And I don't think we'll see Earl Thomas until week 1.
So you think he misses all the preseason?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I just don't see what could happen other than if Earl Thomas doesn't think that he should be the number 2 paid safety. I think he wants to be number 1. And Eric Berry's not taking a deal to cut his salary.
Well, I mean, the other option here for all sides, if Earl is unhappy with the offer that the Seahawks make him, you can bet on himself and play out the last year of his deal and go out there and command whatever he wants.
And the Seahawks could take the approach to franchise him the following year too.
Yeah,
and that wouldn't be a bad deal for them either.
No, Earl just doesn't have a lot of leverage here. And the little bit that he does have is holding out. I don't blame him for doing it, but he's not going to miss game checks. And because he saw how that worked out for Cam.
Yeah, it did
at the end of the day.
And that was a little bit different because Cam had 2 years left.
Yeah. But even still, if he misses, what is it? Is it week 6 or something like that you have to be back by week 7? Before you don't count that season as an accrued season.
Yeah, well, we saw Dwayne Brown. That's why he came back when he did. Now, it wasn't for the Texans. Well, it was with the Texans, and then he got traded.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, you're going to be playing this year in Seattle. How much money do you want? The money that's on your contract right now, or do you want one that's at least slightly higher, even if it's not Eric Berry money?
So you're not a team. If I sat out my job, I'd be fired. Because I see a lot of that going on around. Okay. All right. That's an interesting question, right? How essential are you to your organization, right? Earl Thomas is pretty essential. Like, he's one of the top 2-3 dudes on this team, right? Yeah. Like, about as essential as it gets. So guess what? When you're that valuable, you get to do a lot of things that other people didn't. Like, if I were to sit out from wheel grinding, there's nothing anybody could really do about it. Right. Like they're really not. They would have to pay me more. You know what I mean? There's not very many people that do that job. Exactly. Like, and I'm one of the 2 dudes who does it. So, it just so happens I'm very important to that, so that's great. But or on this podcast, if I started a holdout on this podcast, I'd have a lot more leverage than if I just held out at my job at Allstate or something. You know what I mean? Well, the difference is I can call up Rob Staten and do a show tomorrow. Sure you can. And I just want to know how many dad jokes would be in that podcast. I'm sure that would go down. And we definitely wouldn't have anybody bringing facts, logic, and reason to the podcast in a way in the Visor topic. That's true. Dad jokes, and Visor talk is essential. So that's a good point. But yeah. I go to the argument of what other job do you get drafted into where you're expected to play 3 to 4 years under a salary decided by your organization before you can even start to negotiate for a better deal. So, this whole organization has rules that are different from our average jobs. Yeah, it turns out you're not just like an hourly wage earner. No, very different. Turns out that's a different situation. Aaron Donald in his early years of his contract, who's holding out right now, way underpaid. Look at David Johnson. Running backs are in the prime of their career when they come out, and it's after their first contract that they start to decline. It is in David Johnson's best interest to sit out until he gets a new contract going into his last year, because as a fourth round running back, he's getting paid nothing compared to what his value is. No, you're 100% right. And he's mandated to make what a fourth rounder is supposed to make for those first 3 years. And it's not until his final year that he can actually even negotiate. Well, and then the other argument here, they're making millions of dollars, playing a game. Yeah.
Being selfish, just holding out and hurting the team. Dude, the average NFL career, what is it? Is it 2.5 years?
I think it's 3 years.
A year and a half?
Yeah. Well, most guys don't make it to their second contract.
Hell no, man. Like, you have, at best, 10 years. Like, if you have a 10-year career, that's freaking impressive. You have 10 years to make lifelong money for yourself and your children. That's it. You got to maximize every point that you can to leverage for more money.
That's the kind of punishment that they take at their job. What other job out there where you get hit over and over?
So, we all know CTE exists, correct? And it's more prominent in football players, correct?
Now we do.
Well, I feel like there's a risk-reward aspect to playing football. And if you're a money-motivated person and you love the game, then you know what? You're probably not going to play football unless you get paid millions of dollars. If you're getting paid like what the old timers got paid, you're not going to play. You're going to find something else to do.
Yeah, the other part of the argument, the you sign the contract to play for it type argument, Richard Sherman would have been happy honoring his contract, but the Seahawks cut him when they couldn't get him to take less money. John Ryan would be happy to honor his contract this season, but they go out and they sign the best punter available in the draft. And yeah, he's telling John Schneider he's going to go out there and make him look stupid. But I'm sure, if he gets cut, that's not the Seahawks honoring the contract that they signed with John Ryan. Clint Gresham, a long snapper that signed a long-term deal, they decided to cut to go with somebody cheaper. So, the contracts, they're there to show the salary that they're going to work for if they're on the team. But within the rules of the entire organization, within the rules of the game, players have the ability to hold out and organizations have the ability to cut a player before it's the end of the contract and only pay them in accordance with whatever the contract they came up with.
Yeah, no kidding. There is no loyalty from the teams. We all know that. If you want to say honor the contract, there's only one player that I can think of right now that really has to honor out his full contract. That's Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Right, because it's fully guaranteed. And the other thing that's hilarious is the people that are like anti-player on this, you're on the side of the billionaire owners, huh? Like they need to save a little more money. They don't have enough to go around. Those poor billionaire NFL owners, that poor multi-billion dollar industry that is the NFL, like they can't be bothered to pay these players more money. It just hurt their little pocketbooks too much. So your sympathy is with the billionaires instead that sit in a booth rather than the millionaires that go out there and literally risk life-altering injury. Those are the guys.
Now, I don't think there's anybody who's team billionaire. I would put the...
Yes, they are. If you are against the player and pro team in this, you are pro-billionaire.
No, that's how it works. You're pro, I want my team to be awesome and have as much and want the team to have as much money to pay as many awesome players. That's what team those people are on. Right.
So if you want your team to be awesome and be able to pay all the players to keep them on there, then you go and you look at the NFL and start a petition and be like, hey, next time the CBA comes around, the salary cap stuff, it's got to go way up. Like
or get rid of it.
Much larger percentage needs to go to the... I like the salary cap to a degree just because it helps keep things competitive around the league.
Yeah.
But the percentage of money of complete revenue that comes in could be higher for the players, and you'd be able to keep more players.
Sure.
So just the billionaires would make a little less that way. So if you're mad that your team's not good because guys have to hang out or hold out, like be mad at the billionaires for being too damn cheap to pay them more.
You're very anti-billionaire in this argument, Adam.
It's just being cheap. I'm barely a thousandaire, but like I still tip well. You know what I mean? Like don't be cheap. Like if you've got a little bit of money, don't be cheap. You don't have to give it all away. Just don't be damn cheap.
I mean, Paul Allen has to be able to afford gas for his ship.
Exactly.
Come on, dude.
Exactly. I'm sorry. The fuel for your mega yacht is spending, and
he's building that huge plane too.
He's building a huge plane?
Didn't you see that plane that has like the two fuselages with it's supposed to be able to go into space?
No, or that's Richard Branson.
It's a plane that can...
That's the Virgin Galactic plane. That's Richard Branson.
No, it's not that one.
Paul Allen isn't building space planes.
He is.
I would know about this.
It's a plane that can launch things into space. the Stratolaunch. You haven't seen the Stratolaunch?
I've seen Virgin Galactic's version of this.
A wingspan of 385 feet, unfueled, it weighs 500,000 pounds. It's not to carry passengers, but rather rockets.
Yeah, I'm aware of the theory.
Okay.
But Paul Allen is involved in this?
Yeah.
How do you know that? Where is it? Where are you finding this Paul Allen in on this?
This is, I'm just reading from an article in the Washington Post.
Okay, all right. Founded in 2011 by Paul G. Allen. Okay, fine. Yeah, I was wrongish.
Okay. Well, you owe Paul Allen an apology then.
No. Paul Allen owes me an apology for not writing a check to Earl Thomas.
Find a way to guarantee a salary for the next couple of years. Give him a higher average per year than, because what, $13.5 million for Earl Thomas over the next 2-3 years? 2 years guaranteed?
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a track record, too, of elite athlete safeties playing well late into their careers. Sure. I mean, Rod Woodson, Charles Woodson, Eric Reed, Troy Polamalu. There's just a few off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah. Or Ed Reed, yeah.
Yeah, they can do it. I mean, not everybody's Bob Sanders and goes out after a few years, even, as hard as Earl plays.
Well, do you think all those guys didn't play hard?
Absolutely did. Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, there's a track record of guys playing late at that position into their 30s and being damn good still. And I haven't seen any signs of Earl slowing down.
No.
Now, everybody's spooked off, too, because of what happened with Cam last year.
Right.
After they gave him money.
Well, what happened to Cam? What happened to Richard? What happened to Michael Bennett? I mean, those three guys. What happened
okay, so Bennett wasn't an injury thing.
No, but you could see.
And it really wasn't
He was getting injured more frequently, though. I mean, he's had to deal with injuries with his foot. And
he's been doing that since day one. So, like, that's the same.
Okay.
You could tell that was a culture thing in the locker room for sure.
And maybe even that case with Richard too. Then,
well, an Achilles is
okay. The combination then of the Achilles and the culture in the locker room.
Right. I don't think you get rid of Richard Sherman if he doesn't blow out his Achilles.
Shaquille Griffin did have a pretty good season though.
Yeah. Wouldn't you be excited to pair up a non-dinged up Richard Sherman with Shaquille Griffin coming into his second year?
I don't know. I think they maybe would have traded him. They just would have been able to actually trade him this offseason if he
rather than just straight up release him. Yeah, maybe so.
I mean, it kind of played, with the idea of them shopping him last year. I think it was more of either way. I mean, I think the Cam injury is probably that's worst case scenario, right?
And honestly, like, ask me right now, would I go back and change the way that I did the Cam deal or the way they did the Cam deal?
No.
Hell no, man. That was part of the risk. And it just so happened it worked out that way. What if he had played great for another 2 or 3 years? Then you'd be looking at that deal completely differently. I mean, you got to take risks. Nobody knows the future. Ask yourself something. Do you want to bet on Earl Thomas being awesome for the next 2 or 3 years or not awesome? Yeah. Where are you throwing your chips down on that?
I will throw just as I did with Cam, I will throw my chips down on awesome.
Easy, right?
You know what? And we haven't heard anything new with regard to Cam Chancellor, but here's what I think is going to happen. I don't think Cam's going to play this season, and we might see him sit out the season and then try and come back the following season.
Yeah, there's a possibility for that, but I don't think he plays with the Seahawks if he does that.
Well, I think with the way the contract is structured, he could make a run at it, though, because he's guaranteed his money for this year. So he doesn't really have quite the incentive to play this year. And it would honestly give him a chance to potentially heal up if his injury, makes it whether or not he's close or not close. And I've heard the reports of people saying, well, Cam's starting to look pretty skinny. He doesn't look like he's ramping up to play for this season. So
a Cam is 25 pounds lighter story.
Yeah.
Like every offseason story, so-and-so's 25 pounds lighter, somebody's 25 pounds heavier. Like,
just the commentary that he doesn't look like he's in playing shape the same way he looked going into last year. So
that stuff drives me crazy. Yeah. Did you see Cam Chancellor step on a scale? If the answer is no, then you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, well, do you think he's going to play?
No, I think an injury like that to your spinal cord is something that you don't come back from.
I still think I just competitively, and where he's at with his contract.
That's not me putting a mark on Cam Chancellor's competitiveness. Like that's not me calling into question that at all. Like this isn't a question of will.
Sure.
I mean, it's one thing for Peyton Manning to go out there and do it when you have all the rules protecting you and you can just like fall down and not get hit. But I mean, when you're in the box safety, like it's a very different deal. Well, I honestly hope he doesn't play again.
I mean, he's still
for his own personal health.
Well, you want these guys to have a long and healthy life after football.
Exactly.
All right. Well, moving on. We mentioned at the top of the show, Russell Wilson, number 11 on the top 100 NFL players. We saw Bobby Wagner at number 21 on the NFL top 100. Let's start with Bobby Wagner, though. Number 21, the only other linebacker ahead of him, Luke Kuechly at 12. Just always seems to go ahead of Bobby Wagner, despite Wagner having the production over Kuechly, I don't know, the past 2-3 years. But
yeah, that's a bummer about playing in South Alaska,
I suppose. And maybe it's just the way... Gosh, Wagner is so just consistent, but he doesn't have the big highlight reel plays. He doesn't have the
announcers
like
oohing and awing over him every single play like they do Kuechly in a Panthers game.
And maybe this season will give Wagner more of an opportunity to stand out because being on a defense with Cam Chancellor and Richard Sherman and Michael Bennett, Bobby Wagner isn't the guy like he now will be. And I think he's kind of being recognized as the guy now that he's at number 21. And so, all right, well, let's talk quarterbacks on the NFL top 100 because we left off at about, number 50 the last time we had this discussion. Yes. Deshaun Watson finished at number 50, and we saw Jared Goff hit the board at number 38, Matthew Stafford at 31, Matt Ryan at 29, Cam Newton at 25, and Ben Roethlisberger at 18. And then we saw Russell Wilson. So that means I think Breeze, Brady, Rodgers, and Carson Wentz now are the four quarterbacks who are left.
Yeah, the Wentz one is, if you put Carson Wentz above Russell Wilson on that list, that is absurd.
You think so? He had an MVP season going before he got hurt.
Before he didn't finish the season?
Yeah. And a lot of it is projection over. Look, he's in the NFC East. A lot of these guys are, a lot of, with the exception of Goff and Watson. I mean, everybody else is in the East. Breeze, I guess, is South, but
I drove by the Saints practice facility.
Oh yeah,
and the Superdome. But it made me appreciate the VMAC a little bit more.
A little bit.
That's pretty special out there.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Yeah. But I have no problem with Breeze, Brady, Rodgers. If you're going to, I mean, I understand the narrative and the way the national media looks at things. If you want to place them above Russ, that's fine. I would challenge you to find a quarterback in this league that did more with less.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that was recognized in Russell Wilson's, in the description. There were the players who were talking about him. Listening to Tyrann Mathieu talk about Russell Wilson.
Wasn't that awesome? I love Tyrann. Yeah. I love Tyrann Mathieu. Yeah.
I kind of wish that the Seahawks could have found a way to get him on the team when he was let go from Arizona. But
yeah, that was really fun listening to him talk about playing Russell Wilson. A hell of a player in his own right? And it's been like, yeah, he's better than me.
And that play from last season where, he's doing the two pirouettes and because what was it? Was it Marcus Golden and Tyrann Mathieu that were both trying to run him down?
He's just spinning away.
Yeah, I like seeing that play multiple times in that video too.
No, that was fun.
All right, well, moving on. Let's see let's
talk about John Ryan saying that he's going to make John Schneider look stupid, because if you just read the headline, like, that sounds bad, but if you listen to everything that he said, it was awesome.
Yes, it was very much John Ryan being, competitive, fun John Ryan. It was definitely in a playful way that he was saying to John Schneider that he was going to make him look stupid.
So this is what he had to say. He said he'd run into John Schneider at the facility, and then, quote, he had the attitude almost like, sorry, but I had to do it. Ryan said, relaying what Schneider told him of drafting Dixon. And I was like, don't apologize. Do not apologize. This is the business. If all the players got to pick who was on the team every year, we'd still have the Super Bowl team from 5 years ago. If you let me, I'm going to compete my ass off harder than you've ever seen. I love you. I have so much respect for you. But one way or the other, I'm going to make you look really dumb.
Right.
And that's great. That's him just saying like, yeah, I love you, man. And I understand the business and all that. But like on this one, I'm kicking your ass on this one. I love it.
Yeah, it was a well done article.
It was great. And yeah, big ups to them for getting the context there, because that makes all the difference, doesn't it? I mean, that's a healthy way that you look at it as a player. If somebody brings in somebody to compete with you, and that's a healthy way that you behave as a GM, trying to make your team better at all times. Mm-hmm. And it all worked out. That's how it ought to work right there. Mutual respect. And also a little trash talk.
Wouldn't expect any different.
John Ryan will not go quietly into the night. That was the one headline.
Well, and that's the thing too. I would love to see if John Ryan ends up getting cut to go to a team where he has success in his last year or two of his NFL career.
It's the more likely scenario right now. If you would ask me.
He's had an outstanding career. I mean, to be the longest tenured guy on the Seahawks. I mean, he's didn't he?
He was there before Pete and John.
Yeah. He's the only guy who was there before Pete and John.
Exactly.
Another interesting story to see how it was covered was when Pete Carroll released his new empathy statement. And this goes back a couple weeks. Pete Carroll kind of just putting out a statement. And you have to understand the time frame that this came out, because this was right after the time the NFL came out with its the
anthem policy.
The anthem policy, right. It was interesting to me to see how some articles approached it and what they tied it to, because there was an article in the Washington Post that tied the release of Pete Carroll's statement to the meeting with Jordan Peterson and how, Pete wants us to go back to how things were in the 50s, essentially, was the context of the story.
That's what they got out of that statement?
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. Okay, then. Sure. I don't know what you were reading, but all right, fine. We apparently, reading comprehension, like that part on your SATs, if that's what you got out of it, was probably low.
Well, they were trying to find context for why it would come out and the reasoning, because another one, I think it was the LA Times that covered it and said, because it's right on the heels of Trump's reaction to the anthem policy, that it was some kind of statement that was meant to go against the president. And really, right, if you just read the statement for what it is, it's saying that it's really benign, actually. It's a statement that says, hey, can we just listen to each other and try and understand one another? I took it back to, the Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Just let's be excellent to each other.
I don't know about you, Brandon, but the audacity of Pete Carroll to come out and say, hey, man, if we could all just listen to each other, try to get along a little better and have a little more compassion and sympathy for one another. I mean, what a jerk. What a jerk coming out with a statement like that. I mean, clearly a divisive thing, and in a time that we're all clearly very united as a nation. I mean, I don't know where that would come from. Like, people trying to tie the context of this to a million different things, but it's really very simple. This is one of those times where this nation does feel about as divided as ever between whether you're pro-Trump or anti-Trump or...
Well, if you spend any time on social media and these days, you see all kinds of nastiness. And this is saying, hey, why don't we stop being nasty and maybe try and understand each other? And I think if you're
I'll be cool and you be cool. Right. Like, let's just all be cool. Can you just be cool? Like, let's be a little cool. And hey, guess what? If we're being cool, but we don't quite get there, let's try a little harder.
Yeah, and I think if you're instead of trying to understand it, you're trying to criticize Carroll, then that's getting at the exact part of the problem.
Right. Exactly. At that point, if you're pointing your finger at Pete Carroll that way, there are three more pointing dead back at you. That's how that works. So,
to me, I just think it's okay to read something and not be critical of it. It's okay to just listen to someone and not tell them that they're wrong. My kids get in fights about how the other kid feels. Like they'll give their opinion on how they feel, and the other one will say, no, you don't. And I have to tell them, no, You can't argue with, you can't tell somebody that their opinion is wrong. It's their opinion.
Dude, you don't feel bad about that. You don't feel like that annoys you. What are you talking about? You like it.
Exactly.
That's stupid.
Now, maybe their opinion isn't as informed as it could be, but that's why we talk about things.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
All right. Well, before we hit the break, Adam, one piece of news here. All the Seahawks rookies are signed. Defensive end Rasheem Green signed his contract, and Seahawks have all the rookies under contract now.
Woo!
Yeah, big news.
Cool. Yeah, I think that happens for every team at some point during the offseason. So, cool.
Well, geez.
I'm excited about Rasheem Green, though.
Yeah. I don't know what took him so long, but...
Well, who knows? I mean... I don't know that much. Maybe his agent's just really bad at getting back on phone calls or something. Like, who knows?
I don't know. It's a mystery.
Yeah. I mean, we all knew he was going to sign, right?
Yeah. Oh, talking about guys, though, coming out of minicamp, Alex Magoo, apparently. Pete Carroll giving him more time at quarterback than...
Magoo? Magoo. Oh, right. Yeah, that quarterback that nobody else will remember in 2 years.
I don't know, dude. He might be the Mike Teal of his time.
That was an excellent reference. Well played. Not enough Mike Teal references on the show. No. You're right.
We need to get Mike Teal on the show.
Hell yes. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Maybe the best preseason quarterback of all time.
Yes.
At least in my memory. In my opinion.
I'm not going to lie. I enjoyed Teal.
Yeah, out of Rutgers.
Mm-hmm.
All right, enough throwbacks to the Holmgren era. Why don't we take a break and come back with some Visor talk? Let's talk some Terrell Owens and welcome some new members of the flock and get into some do better and better at life.
Perfect, man. Sounds good. Stay tuned, folks.
And we are getting into the second half of the show. If you want to help support the show, go to seahawkerspodcast.com/support. There's a lot of links there for any number of things that, if you're going to buy something off of Fanatics, for example, you can go there, click on the Fanatics thing. A portion of it gets kicked back to the show. There's a couple ticketing sites there. I saw here this last week or so, someone went and got some tickets through Ticket Network. And I think we get about 12% of that gets kicked back to the show. So that was really nice of whoever did that to make that purchase and help support the show that way.
Absolutely. It's super cool. And again, that's a win-win, right? For everybody. And I love those kind of situations the most.
You get the stuff you want. It doesn't cost you any extra. And you get to help support the podcast.
Absolutely. So yeah, if you guys don't mind doing that, and if it's something you're doing anyways, help us out, man. That'd be great.
Seahawkerspodcast.com/tickets. I think there's an Amazon link there too. And one of the things that I saw, especially after our Visor commentary, did you see the man bun visor that they have on Amazon?
This better not be a real life thing.
It's a real life thing. It's a visor with a man bun built in. So you can look like you're wearing a visor and also look like you're rocking a man bun all in one device for your head.
There are a few people on this planet that are evil enough that I think need to be hunted down and systematically murdered. And I think the inventor of this is one of those people.
Wow. That's pretty harsh.
So is creating a man bun visor.
Seriously, if you're listening to this right now, go to our show notes and I'll put a link in there, a link to the man bun visor, just so you can see it in all its glory. And you know what? You know what I think I'll do? If you buy us and you send us a photo of you wearing it, I will send a code for 6 months of free bonus shows through our app.
I don't think that's worth it. I don't. I think the amount of shame that would come with wearing half a hat with a man bun sticking out of the top isn't worth it. I'd say I'd renege on that. I wouldn't do it. I'd ask for more. I'd hold out like Earl Thomas.
Okay, well maybe I will find a way to get more. Maybe I don't know. I'll have to think about this. If we don't get any submissions, I will have to up the ante.
Yeah, so don't do it, people. I don't want this person to be patronized. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want him to have any sales. Are there reviews you can leave for this? Can you leave reviews on Amazon for this product?
Oh, I'm sure you can.
Wonderful.
There's 4 reviews.
I know exactly what I'm doing tonight after I have a beer and I'm ready to go to bed.
There's 4 reviews. Every one of them.
Please tell me it's like 1 stars.
There's 3 5 stars and 1 1 star.
So there's 3 people that clearly the only taste that they have is in their mouth. And then, 1 person that is the voice of reason. That's what I get out of that.
And 3 of these were verified purchases. Listen to the reviews. Bought this as a gag gift for my boyfriend. I love man buns. He says he'll never get one. Okay, buddy. We'll see about that.
Okay. Gag gift. That's understandable. All right. That's okay. All right. And good to her boyfriend. Her boyfriend's a real man. She should marry him. What are the other reviews?
The 1-star review has received it and it looked ratty and all tangled. Not what I was expecting.
Well, that's because all man buns look ratty.
Oh, here's the best review.
And stupid.
Great man bun. As soon as you put this product on your head, you will instantly be twice the man you were before. Be ready for women who have a tendency to throw themselves upon a man with a man bun. Make sure you have a pack of condoms because you will need them.
Because the only thing worse than a man bun is a fake man bun. Oh, and the only thing worse than that is a fake man bun attached to a freaking half of a hat.
Some people took issue with your half a hat comments, though, because Craig Colleen, he said on YouTube, hey, some people have heat in their heads more than others. Let it go.
That is not a valid, because I looked into the whole, your mom always told you that like 80% of your heat like left to the top of your head. So you had to wear a hat when you went outside in the winter and all that. Guess what? False.
Is this on Snopes?
No, this was like a Mythbusters or something.
Okay.
That's a BS right there. Science totally discredits that comment from, who was that from?
Craig.
Yeah. Craig, I'm sorry. Science says otherwise, bud.
Well, I just liked all of our listeners who are outing themselves as Visor guy, and Gary Bloom was one of them. Says, proud of my Visor and the fact that I don't care what anyone else thinks about that. I'll keep rocking this Visor forever.
Like I said on the Facebook comments, I was confused when I saw because he put a picture of himself up in the Ring of Honor wearing his hobo hat. And I was like, oh my God, who let the hobo onto the Facebook Ring of Honor? I thought you had to like pay some money for that. And I don't think like if you're hoboing, like that's an expense you would want to make. And then I realized it was just Gary. Yeah, I mean, that hobo hat is hideous, man.
Well, I did out myself on our own Facebook page this last week because I'm bucket hat guy.
Yeah, you are bucket hat guy. Yeah.
I like the bucket hat.
I see the value of a bucket hat on the river.
Yeah, because
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, the sun, covers your neck a little bit, covers your face.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I use it for yard work, and it's awesome.
Okay, that makes sense to me too. Yeah, I think there's some uses. I think there's acceptable areas to use the bucket hat. Now, like just as like a walking around on a, regular fall day, as like your full-time hat. If you're a full-time bucket hat guy, now you got problems. But like situational bucket hat is okay. Whereas with
the visor, hats, you can just wear sunglasses.
Exactly. And you wouldn't have to look like a douche. So like, yeah, I mean, there's no situation that's acceptable for the visor. None. Right.
Because say your complaint is
you have more head heat.
My hat gets, or my head gets too hot in a regular hat, then just don't wear a hat and wear sunglasses.
Right.
Like what's
exactly.
I want to hear what the comeback is to that.
There is none. And if you really are bothered by the lack of airflow, like there are Seahawks trucker hats that you could get if that's the route you want to go. That's still better. While I'm not a big fan of the trucker hat, and I don't personally wear them, that is an upgrade from a visor. And if you can't remember always, people, that your SUV is not a truck. That does not qualify.
No, semi-truck.
If it does not.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, either that or, I mean, you can drive, a pickup truck.
I could get a trucker hat and drive in my pickup?
Yes, you can. You can, because that is a truck because it has a bed and a tailgate on the back. Yeah. When people call SUVs a truck, you're doing it wrong. Those aren't trucks.
Yeah. The stupid states that tax them as trucks. That's where the problem, this problem all started.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You can't take any of your information on what to call things from the government. That you're trusting the government. That's your first problem there.
There we go.
Situational bucket hats. Okay. Visor still never. That's what we got out of that.
Yeah.
Still never. Okay.
And man bun visors are awesome.
Or the devil. I mean,
okay.
Depending on how you want to look at it.
All right. I feel like I need to update because we had the discussion of playing Far Cry 5 in the last show.
What's that?
That video game that was based in Montana. I was telling you how great it was.
That doesn't look like Montana. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it kind of looks like Montana, but it had the dumbest ending in the world. I can't recommend it now.
Oh no.
Yeah. Although the one part of it that was cool that I played since last time we talked is that there's a mission where you get to save the Testy Festy. And apparently now it's the only way you can enjoy the Testicle Festival in Montana now.
That's right, because they are doing away with it because thank God.
I've never been.
There's a lot of unsavory behavior. Let's put it that way. At the Testicle Festival.
That's not your thing.
You think Mardi Gras is like, woo, it'll blow your hair back and that's pretty crazy time? No.
Testy Festy is where it's at.
It's not where it's at. No, I'm not. No. This isn't a condonance of it. Okay. No, I'm not endorsing it. But it is definitely there's more illegal activity that goes on there or went on there. And it's at this dump on the side of the road by Rock Creek. Oh, it's gross. It's a terrible, like, everybody's like, oh, well, you get to go and you get to see catfish. Well, neat, except for none of those are the ones you want to see. None. Yeah. Not one. Not like some 65-year-old dude, like, flashing his junk at you. No, you don't want that either.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Okay.
And then it's all centered around eating cow testicles. So there's that.
And
maybe that's the only place it's acceptable to wear a visor.
Yeah, but you're probably not a place where you're going to see a lot of visors.
No, you'd be the classiest person there by far if you wore a visor, and you know how much I hate them. That tells you a little bit of how bad. I used to work at a photo lab and developed a lot of pictures from Testy Fest.
And you could and a lot of those photos didn't make it back to him?
Oh, no, they all made it back to him. I don't want to keep any of that nonsense. No, thank you. Nope. No.
All right. Well, let's, before we get to our new members of the flock this week, T.O. A lot of hoopla around T.O. here recently because he decided he's not going to attend the Hall of Fame ceremony and that he's going to announce where and when he will be celebrating his induction at a later date.
Believe it or not, T.O. is being a little bit of a diva in grandstanding.
No way.
Yeah, it just so happens that's what's happening. A lot of people really angry with him for like showing up or for not showing up to the Hall of Fame induction, supposedly.
Which
you said
it hasn't happened yet.
You think he might?
I think he might. Although, you know what I think is going to happen? One of the two things, maybe both, will happen. One, it's another look at me moment for Owens. He likes those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And another way, it's for him to plug the new Madden 19. Because it comes out right around the time of the Hall of Fame ceremony, early. And this year, apparently, with the release date, it's earlier than it usually comes out. So if he's going to announce that he's going to be celebrating his induction somewhere, it's probably going to be to help promote the launch of this game.
And make some money at it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that probably makes some sense. Look, I guess I see this really easily from both sides. Like, it's his Hall of Fame induction. He can be there or not be there if he wants to be.
Sure.
And that's fine.
He's still going to be in the Hall of Fame.
To make. Yeah, that's your decision to make, and that's fine. But I still think you're being kind of a catfish by not having a little respect for not the writers, because that's who he's pissed off at, right? But all the other people that are in the Hall of Fame. You're just kind of being a catfish. And that's fine. Like, it's not the worst form of being a catfish there is. This isn't the jerkiest move that he's ever had.
No.
But you could do a little better here.
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised. It's T.O.
Yeah, it's a mini do better. You could do a little better.
Yeah, you could do a little better here,
Yeah, I was listening to Tales from the Space Pod. We had a couple of weeks off, so I was listening to a lot of podcasts. And I was listening to them talk about the Mandela effect. And it made me realize that I have no memory of Terrell Owens in a Bengals uniform.
Really?
Yeah.
I vaguely remember it. Like, I can picture it.
Well, there's also where it comes into play, where he says, "That's my quarterback."
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it's my quarterback.
We always say, "That's my quarterback, man."
Oh, he never says man?
He never says man. No, here's the full clip.
And if you do that, it's really unfair. It's really unfair. It's my team. It's my quarterback. And if you guys do that, man, it's unfair. We lost as a team. We lost as a team, man.
So he does say at the end, "We lost as a team, man."
And he's like, and that's unfair, man. Or if you do that, man.
Yeah. He throws man in there a couple times, but it's not right after the quote. So,
right. Okay. So when you put man right after "that's my quarterback," now you're paraphrasing. You're not quoting.
Correct. "That's my quarterback, ... man."
Right.
You got to put the ellipsis is in the subtext.
That's fine. I guess from here on out, I'm going to get I forgot just how tearful he got.
Oh,
yeah. Over that.
He had his sunglasses on, but you could see his lip trembling. Yeah. I mean, he was truly hurt by it.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of a hard time making fun of him for it.
No, I don't. Not even a little bit. Nope. He's kind of, because to be honest, he's like, he starts out with how unfair everything is. Being a crybaby. Catfish! Ass.
Was that them just missing they lost a game to miss out on the playoffs or something?
I couldn't even tell you.
I don't
really care.
I don't know. This would have been, they finished first in the East in their 2007 season. So the playoffs would have been in 2008. They lost the divisional round to the Giants 21-17.
Oh, okay.
So that's what it came after. That's hard. Losing to a division rival to go to the championship. That would have been the year that the Giants beat the Patriots then in the Super Bowl. And Dallas had a 13-3 record that year. They could have been the team to take down the Patriots, but instead they lost to the Giants.
Yeah.
All right. Well, at least we got that sorted out. Hey, another thing, while I was listening to podcasts, I was listening to the No Agenda show, Adam. And one of the things that you've talked about in the past, and I don't know if this came up somewhere or if this was completely your idea, but the idea of...
I think we know this is my idea.
Of course.
I have honestly, anybody I've brought this up to, I have not had them say, "Oh yeah, no, that's something I do."
Well, the idea of giving a thumbs down to people in traffic it's spreading around the nation now.
I've also come across a very effective, something new, and this really works. I've tried it out once or twice. Here's a situation. Someone cuts you off in traffic. What do most people do? You flip them off. Right?
Not necessarily.
Let's say that's one way to show your aggravation with the situation.
In California, it's always risky.
Here's what I am now doing. For whatever reason, if someone says something and you want to flip them off, instead of flipping them off, you give them a thumbs down. And it really confuses people. Because they're like, wait, and it feels worse to them. Like, and now with the Facebook the thumbs up, you give them a thumbs down. You don't have to say anything, just give them a thumbs down.
It's a Facebook meme.
But it's in reverse. So you give them a thumbs down and people go, "Oh, catfish!" What? You try it. I'd love to hear back from people.
I like the idea. I think it's a good idea.
It's thumbs down instead of flipping.
In California, you don't want to flip people, they'll shoot you.
Yeah, but in Texas too.
Yeah, but giving a thumbs down is not grounds for shooting.
Shooting, no. And it's kind of like
it would be kind of baffling for somebody.
And I'm bad.
Why should give me a thumbs down?
Oh man, he gave me a thumbs down. I'm hurt. I'm triggered, bro.
So there you go. The thumbs down. The word of it is spreading.
This is amazing. I had no idea that this was spreading. Like, this is something I can remember the first person, so I tried it a few times. It was just an organic idea because my ex-wife had a habit of flipping people off.
Right.
Especially really large dudes in trucks and things like that, and nearly got me into a couple fights being kind of hot-headed. And so, after I got divorced and everything, it's every so often, somebody does something, and it connotates hey man, that wasn't cool, and I'm disappointed in you. I'm not angry at you. And you just, boom. You know how many people have, like, when I've given them the thumbs down and they've clearly done something wrong, they know.
Yeah.
And like you get up to the next stoplight or whatever, instead of like being raging and like, you know, at the next stoplight or whatever, they look at you, they put their hands up in the air, their shoulders shrug a little bit, and you get usually an I'm sorry.
Right.
Like they mouth I'm sorry, you know, something like that. And I remember the first time that I told it to anybody else, I told it to our buddy Jared, who was driving for Missoula Textiles, delivering rugs like for businesses, right? So that's all he did. He was driving around all day, every day, right? And after about 2 or 3 weeks, he's like, dude, I've been giving people thumbs down. It's amazing. He's like, it totally has changed everything. He's like, not only that, but the other drivers are all now doing thumbs down too. Like, he's like, it's the best. So I was like, yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this can lead to, more humane responses on the road.
Absolutely. I'm really glad that you are a witness to the fact that I have been doing this far before you heard this on this podcast.
Oh, exactly. You know, you're the one
No
that
Agenda,
I heard it from originally. And then to hear Adam Curry, the guy who helped invent podcasting.
Yes. See, great Adams think alike.
Show. Yeah. Great Adams think alike, apparently.
Exactly.
Well, getting into some new members of the flock. Getintheflock.com. We got a few people to thank this week. Kevin Moore upping his pledge to $50 a month. Thank you for the raise, Kevin, and look forward to I put it out to our members of the flock at getintheflock.com about going to the 49ers game together
in San Francisco, right?
This is the one in Seattle, December 2nd.
The one in Seattle. Okay. All right. Gotcha. Cool.
And so I will be there at that. Adam will be taking Santa photos, but you and I still trying to do the London game. So
yes. Yeah. No, I'm in on London.
We're in on London.
So everybody that's going, like, I hope all of you guys applaud Richard Sherman and don't boo him. Like,
yes. And that's what we'll be there for. We'll be there to applaud him.
Good. That'd be great.
Even
before the game. If he does something during the game, like if he intercepts Russ or something, which he won't, but let's say he did, like,
well, you aren't really going to have. They don't do player introductions for the opposing team, though, so it's not like you're going to boo the whole 49ers
but when he runs out on the field, like, people know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Don't boo Sherman.
Don't directly boo Sherman.
You can boo the Niners all you want as a group.
Well, that makes sense.
Or any other individual player, except for maybe Brock Coyle, just because he's from Montana and he's cool.
Maybe Coyle and Sherman and Smith could all come out together, and
Gilliam.
And well, Gilliam doesn't need a round of applause. Malcolm Smith was our Super Bowl MVP at least, and Coyle was just awesome.
That's true.
And he's from Montana, so those three could come out together for a little applause from the crowd.
A little smattering.
Yeah. Okay. And welcome new member of the flock, our first member of the flock from Ireland, Adam. $5 pledge from Owen O'Hara.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks a lot, Owen. The little bit I know of folks from Ireland was when I worked at Allstate, and our tech support were folks in Ireland.
Yeah. And they were all awesome.
They were all awesome, but also, too, kind of a sad lot.
Oh?
Yeah. Like, most of them were like, I was like, so what do you do around there? You're trying to make such just drink beer and kind of hang out on the side. Well, what do you mean? Play video games? I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, it's just always raining.
Oh. Yeah.
That probably makes sense why Owen then is a Seattle fan.
Yeah.
Because that's the knock on Seattle too, right?
Sure. Except it doesn't rain as much as people talk about.
Shh.
I think Owen's going to try and make the Niners game too, so.
Catfish! Mate.
I know. Sorry,
I'm so pissed that this is how this went down.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's your fault.
It's Santa's fault, if you want to pin it on anybody.
Yeah, that cowboy loving Santa. That's it. It's his fault. That's right.
He chooses to work 1 month out of the year, and it's the 1 month that I could get tickets for the game.
Right, and he's a Cowboys fan. Let's not forget that dirty little fact about Santa Mike.
And a welcome to the flock to Charlotte Faber, who's in for $5. Charlotte sends us a note and says, love you guys and love the podcast. Always super excited when a new episode is out. Best Seahawks podcast out there. Keep up the great work. I'll be in Seattle to see the Seahawks versus Rams Sunday, the 7th of October, and keeping all fingers crossed for tickets when the Seahawks play here in London, UK. Go Hawks.
All right. Well, I hope to see Charlotte in London then. That'd be amazing. And thank you for the love. I've always loved the name Charlotte. I think it's a very lovely name.
Charlotte's Web. Remember reading that book in, what was that, first grade that we did that book?
I didn't cry. Whatever. Why'd you bring that up?
Yeah, if people don't know, you and I had the same first grade teacher, Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, we sure did. Same kindergarten teacher,
Same second grade teacher, too.
Yeah.
That was it.
Oh, Mrs. Hash. Yeah.
Mrs. Hash. First year.
Oof. Yeah. Her first year teaching, and you couldn't have been a warm-blooded young man and not have a little crush on her as a second grader.
Even in second grade.
Yeah.
Welcome to the flock to Dennis Prediger, in for $5.
Awesome, dude. I like the $5 donations, man. Like, we don't often get a ton of $5 ones for whatever reason.
This was a good week for the $5 new flockers.
All right. Well, thanks, Dennis, man. Welcome. I knew you wanted to be a little flocker like the rest of us. Yeah. That's great.
Eric Trench went up from 5 up to 12.12. So thanks to Eric.
Oh, well, I know who to hit up for a loan. Thanks, Eric. See, you must have found a little bit more money. Yeah.
And 2 more. One from a $3 pledge from Mike Amerlan. In for 3. Welcome to the flock, Mike.
Awesome. Welcome, Mike.
And a welcome to the flock to Thor Stenfjord.
Now, when I saw Thor Stenfjord's name, I immediately thought about trying to disappear him and then steal his identity because I want the name Thor Stenfjord.
Just having the first name Thor.
Right? Like, so there's that part. And then Stenfjord is
for every person listening to this podcast right now, you hear a dude's name Thor. Like, don't you automatically think that he's super handsome?
Well, not only that, but just overall, there's a level of badassery that this guy is connected with. Like, he just, he's Thor.
Right. Maybe it has to do with all the Marvel movies, but I picture Chris Hemsworth when I hear Thor.
Oh, okay. See, I was thinking more of the Scandinavian god Thor.
I mean, that's what the character's based off of.
Especially with the last name Stedfjord.
Yes.
So that feels very Scandinavian. Having Scandinavian background, I was like, I'm really angry with my parents for not giving me that name. So anyways, Thor, welcome to the flock, you little flocker. That's so great. Thor is a little flocker.
Yes.
So if you've ever questioned yourself, am I cool? Should I be part of the flock, or am I too cool for it? Should I be a little flocker? Dude, even Thor's a little flocker.
You'll be part of that club now with Thor if you get in the flock.
Right? Yeah. And is he from Alaska?
Yeah, he sent a note. Said, "You won me over. I've been a Hawks fan since I was a kid growing up in Alaska and instantly became a fan of the podcast after discovering it several months ago. Any show that features my favorite sports team and giggling about diarrhea jokes has a place in my podcast heart. Keep up the amazing work and go Hawks."
Thor, we are kindred souls, man. That's all I can say. And don't worry. We haven't run out of diarrhea jokes because the jokes we have are unlimited diarrhea jokes.
Unlimited diarrhea. Unlimited.
This might be my favorite. Welcome to the flock. This entire grouping.
Yeah.
Like this whole segment. Yeah.
It's been pretty good.
This has been really fun for me.
Well, I
got to say little flocker a lot and unlimited diarrhea.
Well, 41 more to go till we get to 300. So hopefully we'll be getting in the groove here leading up to the season now.
That'd be great, because apparently after this job, it's going to get real slow for me. So if we could get a few more little flockers to join, that'd be fantastic. And I will have the time then, apparently, to do the second show right after the game, because that is our goal. We get to 300 members of the flock, and we will start producing 2 shows a week. And I know you're like, most of you right now are probably like, you don't even do 1 show a week lately. Like, why should I believe you? Well, we're going on year 6 of this stuff. And we've been pretty consistent. Like, it's been a rough 2 weeks, but we're pulling it together. But we'll get back up to the 2 shows a week.
You know what? I think I've been going about this all wrong, trying to get to 300 though, Adam. Instead of talking about giving away a signed Pete Carroll helmet, I think we should do a video of the 2 of us wearing man bun visors and wearing short shorts while doing the flute dance when we get to 300.
Well, cool. So I've been meaning to talk to you about something, and I think I'm going to have to free up even more of my time after this job, and so I resign.
But Lisa Carlson said she'll up her pledge and go on a membership drive to make the video happen.
No, there's no way in hell I'm wearing. Nope.
Man bun visor, short shorts, flute dance. That's the trifecta of awesome.
All right. So much like you have what would it be? An aversion to doing the drunk podcast. like I know how much you hate the idea of doing that, and how much you're avoiding it in every way possible. That's exactly how I feel about Lisa's terrible, horrible, amazingly beautiful suggestion that's never going to happen. I love you, Lisa.
Well, now we know where your line is.
Yeah, there's one of them. Yeah.
How about 3,000 members of the flock?
Okay, I will absolutely do that if we have 3,000 members of the flock. Absolutely, 100% yes. Because I think if we got to about 3,000, that would be the type, I might actually not have to grind wheels at that point.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have to grind wheels, then yes, I will. And not only that, I'll do it in a Speedo if we get to 3,000.
Not just short shorts, you'll go all the way full Speedo.
Absolutely. Yep.
Nobody wants to see that. You just stop at the short shorts.
All right, well, then I'll go back to short shorts if that's what it takes. I don't care. But I'm just saying I'm willing to up the ante even a little bit more.
Okay.
To get to 3,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
At 3,000 patrons, we do a drunk podcast and we dance around doing the flute dance in short shorts and man buns. Man bun visors.
Visor man buns.
Yeah.
Visor man buns. Yeah, there we go. Exactly.
Okay.
And we'll wear the gear during the podcast. Yeah.
Well, we're almost 10% of the way there.
Right.
You got to have goals.
You got to have goals. Exactly.
Got an iTunes review that came in. I'd like to read those because just as a way to say thanks for people leaving reviews for us. And this one came in via iTunes. It says, just what I needed from Brendo Rendo. It says, I've been craving more Seahawks content during the long, brutal offseason, and this podcast has provided me with that relief. Plus my name, Brandan, and Brandon's name constantly get mixed up. So there's some sort of connection here, I think. Great work, guys. If you're ever in the Salt Lake City area, let me know and we'll grab coffee. Go Hawks.
Oh, go Hawks, dude. Yeah. I do end up through Salt Lake here and there, but we'll definitely hit you up, man. Thank you very much for the kind review. And we do read them all. Every single one.
We do.
The good ones, even the bad ones.
It's true. 1 star.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
I'm still looking forward to the first one that actually criticizes Brandan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hasn't happened.
Yeah, they're usually, you've gotten under somebody's skin. I don't say anything to get under anybody's skin.
Yeah, no, it's usually my fault, clearly.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's my critique. Maybe I don't say anything enough to get under people's skin, and I should be more thoughtful of trying to upset some people.
Be inflammatory? Yeah. Screw Pete Carroll's statement of empathy, right?
Right. Well, we got some feedback this week, some emails.
Okay.
Here's one from Gary, says, I'm behind. It's the offseason after all. So we gave Gary a week to catch up on podcasts. We're doing some of our listeners a favor, really.
That's exactly right.
Gary says, I was getting through the last week's episode for Do Better criticizing the lawsuit against McDonald's for charging extra for cheese, but not for lowering the price when taking cheese off the menu item that normally includes it. It says, were I the defense attorney, I would argue that McDonald's should likely be able to charge more. Even with the removal of the cheese, the higher price in either direction should be due to the extra labor that goes into cooking the item differently than the standard menu configuration and has nothing to do with the incrementally higher or lower cost of the ingredient inputs. The time away
I object, Your Honor, because there isn't any added labor. There's decreased labor. It's one less step in the process of making the burger. You got to assemble the burger one way or the other.
No, he says the time away from the normal assembly line to create a bespoke non-cheese double cheeseburger should cost the consumer more. The judge should not only put a $5 million sensitivity fine, but should also have the person who brought the suit pay $5 million in punitive damages directly to McDonald's for defamation of character / attack of the brand's wholesomeness.
Well, I mean, if anything, he's learned some negotiation tactics from our president. Like you just take it from like, the level of like, no, they shouldn't, they should actually still charge the same to. Not only should they charge you more, but then you should have to pay $5 million in punitive damages for emotional distress. Yeah, and you take it all the way. So I respect the way that he's trying to negotiate here.
I want Gary as a lawyer for whatever I do now.
Oh yeah, you know what I want Gary for? I want Gary to be my official negotiator in my relationships in life. Yeah. If I'm in an argument with my girlfriend, like I want Gary arguing on my behalf.
On your behalf in his visor.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not proper court attire, right?
No, but didn't Hulk Hogan get like some exemptions so he could wear his do-rag as proper court attire? Didn't he wear like a black do-rag when he was going?
Who's going to tell Hulk Hogan no?
Right. Well, yeah.
Was that the exception made? Being like, oh, it's the big mother catfish dude exception. Okay. Oh, yeah. You're huge and you can kick my ass. Maybe you can wear your do-rag.
Yeah, and you can wear a black one because that's more formal than the red one or yellow.
Did he wear a black one?
I think he wore a black one in court.
Okay.
Did they allow him to do that?
I have no clue.
That might be another Mandela effect thing.
You're going to have to explain the Mandela effect one of these days because I don't think anybody, I don't know the Mandela
I'll explain
effect.
it right now. So the Mandela effect, the reason why it has the name Mandela effect is because a lot of people have the memory of Nelson Mandela dying in prison rather than the memory of Nelson Mandela getting out of prison and being, doing his things that he did once he got out of prison.
Like his work with the UN and things like that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird because my first memory of Nelson Mandela is him being released from prison.
Now, a lot of people think that he died in prison.
Oh, well, that would be fact. That's a false fact.
Well, here's another one that's weird. The Karate Kid movie.
Mm-hmm.
How do you remember Daniel's bandana from the Karate Kid looking?
Yeah, basically the Japanese sun kind of looking symbol and then tied around his forehead, right?
What color was it?
It was white and red.
Incorrect. It was black and white. And it wasn't the rising sun symbol. It was a very different symbol.
Oh. Huh. Maybe that was on a poster or something. I don't know.
I have the same memory as you of it being red and white.
Right.
But I don't know why that is. If it was a bandana.
Did he wear a red and white one at some point throughout the series?
No.
Huh.
You know what I wonder if it is like in Bloodsport with Chun Li. I think maybe he wore the red and white one.
That could be. Okay.
So I wonder if it's just, martial artist fanatics from the 80s. That those are the movies that you watch.
Or less than fanatic because you can't remember the details.
Enthusiast.
Consumer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the Mandela effect.
Okay.
And I chalk it up to mostly bad memory.
I think that's...
The other one is Berenstain Bears and how it's spelled. Because a lot of people remember it spelled Stein and not Stain. Because it's spelled Berenstain Bears.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I had a lot of that too. But that one I'm sure is less influential in the world than the actual...
Nelson Mandela.
Where he lived and died.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah.
There you go, listeners. That'll send you down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Jeff sends in an email, says, quick clarification for Adam regarding leaf blowers. I've burned through several cheap electric units because we live under a canopy of firs. Now I've got a gas-powered BP 42 510 CFN Ryobi. I clean my roof, driveway, road, and neighborhood with it. Sorry, Adam, but I'll take on your rake or broom any day.
Well, I mean, that's fine, but you're a public menace out there.
Yeah. Kevin jumps in too, says, as an ex-professional window/gutter cleaner who used a leaf blower daily, I have to correct your close-minded opinion about leaf blowers. I'd like to outline all the useful ways a leaf blower can be used. When I say leaf blower, I mean a high-power backpack blower with 200-mile-an-hour plus airspeed coming out of the nozzle. Those handheld options are a joke and should be banned. 1, it's at least 3 times faster to get leaves into a pile if you know how to use it properly. 2, when dry, you can use it to blow gutters out, then clean up the mess on the ground. A 2-hour hand cleaning gutter job can take 30 minutes or even less, but still charge the same. So keep getting them checks. 3, when cleaning out your work truck, you can literally open all the doors and blow out the inside of the truck. It doesn't get every piece of dust, but who cares? It's a work truck. And 4, clean off a roof. Brooms don't work well on composite roof that grabs every single piece of debris and won't let go. Only high-powered air works here. I could go on, but I'll spare you the boring read. The point is, brooms suck. Backpack blowers are freaking awesome.
Yeah, but if you're wearing one of the backpack blowers, you just look like you have a jetpack that doesn't fly on your back. Like, you look like you just have a lame non-jetpack that's really loud and obnoxious. And then on top of that, like cleaning out gutters and stuff, like with that, there's other high-powered air options that work much better, are much quieter, and you look a little less goofy while you're doing it. And it's called an air compressor.
Oh.
It's same with cleaning out your truck. Like, you can do that. You hit it with the air compressor, man. And again, yeah, you don't get every bit of dust, but it helps. It's much quieter. Nobody's mad.
So the grumpiness factor in here for you is the loudness.
Absolutely.
Like, quiet down. I'm trying to nap.
So in my neighborhood, there is a house 2 doors down from me that hires a lawn mowing service to take care of their yard, right?
Yeah.
And they use the leaf blower to blow the grass clippings off of the driveway back into the lawn, right?
Right.
And they always show up at 7:30 in the morning, and they're out there for catfishing ever with their stupid leaf blower because, like, it's so inefficient at removing the grass chunks rather than a broom. So they sat out there for like 45 minutes. And that's the sound they make, like a dying middle-aged man. And like, it's just it's terrible, and it wakes me up all the time. Like, there's one. Like, it's the noise. It's the noise factor. Then he was talking about cleaning off your roof. What's the rain for?
It doesn't get all the debris, I think, is what he's saying, is that the rain doesn't get the roof totally clean. Doesn't get the gutters clean either.
Well, a hose can't accomplish this?
Well, I suppose. Maybe it's just faster.
I don't think it is.
I don't know. I use a hose for cleaning mine.
Exactly.
But I didn't know there was another way. Now I know.
That's because... Well, and then also, too, he's an ex-professional gutter, window, roof cleaner guy, right? Maybe there's a reason why you're an ex-professional at it. You've been doing it wrong. Ever think about that? People got tired of your noisy fake jetpack that you wore around, and so you couldn't keep your accounts. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. In fact, I'm sure that's what happened. There's really no other story. Case closed.
It's too bad Kevin's not going to see you in December.
I know. I'd give that dude a hug.
He does say, I love you, man. But when you're wrong, you're wrong.
Unless I'm still right. So there's that.
And Daniel's on my team, too, about saying how great it is for grass cuttings on concrete. And cleaning the garage. Ooh, I tried this, too. I did try blowing some of the dust out of my garage here with my leaf blower.
This is having the opposite effect of what it was supposed to have, okay? Like, this sounds like there is now being more usage of the bane on the existence of man that is the leaf blower instead of less. Pick up a broom, you bunch of lazy...
It's more versatile than a broom.
No, it is not.
I kind of do want an air compressor now, though.
Yeah, air compressors are the bomb.
All right. What do you say we get into some do better and better at life?
All right. Sounds good, man. My do better this week is for whoever the tool bag was that was the employee at Tesla who sabotaged the Model 3.
Oh, no.
Setting back the program. Yes. Elon Musk comes out the other day with a tweet saying that they had been indeed sabotaged from within. An employee who was supposedly mad over being passed over for a promotion, sabotaged a bunch of the code in the assembly line, causing massive problems. And they keep trying to hit this 5,000 car a week production quota that they've been trying to hit for the Model 3. this has been a big reason as to why they haven't been able to do that. And it's more diabolical than you might think, because I know Elon Musk said that it was all about just the idea that, a guy was pissed off that he didn't get promoted. But I don't think that's the case. I think it was a mole. I think it was a mole from the big auto manufacturers and the big energy companies that had set this guy, bought him off, bribed him to try to take down Tesla as they come along trying to make more efficient, clean energy products. And I think it's in their interest to try to sabotage Tesla from within. And this Brandan, is a conspiracy that goes to the highest levels.
Unlimited diarrhea. Unlimited.
This is not unlimited diarrhea. This makes all the sense in the world.
Maybe I was looking for this one.
Yes, now that's more like it. There are people at the top in the energy and auto manufacturing industry trying to take down the young upstart billionaire who's just trying to save humanity. And to those jerk-offs who helped finance and get this mole infiltrated into Tesla, you need to do better.
I knew I had the right sound clip there somewhere.
Yeah, thank you. I thought you were calling my conspiracy theory unlimited diarrhea there for a second.
It just have been the what am I looking for?
Ironic mistakes?
No.
I have no idea where you're going with this.
No, what is it when your subconscious kind of takes over?
Subliminal or something like that. That's one of those words that I can't say.
Subliminal.
Subliminal.
Mine isn't subliminal. It's
Freudian. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Freudian slip. That's what I was looking for.
There you go. Okay.
Particularly, that's the word that I have a hard time saying.
Oh yeah, I have a particularly hard time with subliminal blah blah.
Might do better this week, Adam. It's for Phil Mickelson.
Oh no!
At the U.S. Open, did you see
lefty.
This?
No.
Hefty. Oh my gosh! At the U.S. Open, he putts a ball and just blows it past the hole. He goes jogging after the ball, and before the ball stops, he hits it back at the hole.
So he went full Happy Gilmore?
He went.
Did he get down by the edge of the cup and scream at the ball, go home?
Go home.
Just go home? Are you too good for your home?
So he missed the putt going down, and then he runs after it. Then he misses the putt as it's hitting it coming back.
In motion.
He ends up 4-putting on that green and taking the 2-stroke penalty for hitting the ball as it was moving. A lot of golfers are up in arms saying that they thought he should have been disqualified for it, but that's 2-stroke penalty. But just
whatever, dude. He melted down enough on his own, man. Like, he doesn't need to get kicked out for the tourney.
No, he ended up taking a 10 on that hole. So, I mean,
I think that's punishment enough. Yeah.
And the embarrassment of being called out. I mean, what? Who does that, man? And
I love it, dude. If you're going down, go down in flames, man. If you're going down, go down in flames.
Going down in flames, yeah. And for that, he gets a call out on this show. Phil Mickelson, you wait till the ball stops. That's one of the key components in golf. Do better.
That's really funny, man.
Oh,
I love it.
It was entertaining to me, but still,
yeah.
You don't do that. You know better.
Yeah,
don't do that in the U.S. Open.
Oh, that was at the U.S. Open on top of all that.
Yeah, at Shinnecock.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's wow. Well, he's won enough. So I guess that's okay.
The worst part about it was him playing it off. It's one thing to say, yeah, you know what, at that point, I was just done. I was kind of screwing around. But he went out and he tried to explain that it was strategic, that the ball would have just kept on rolling, and that he was doing it as a way to take the 2-stroke penalty, as it was somehow better than where the ball was going to end up had it kept on rolling. Come on, dude.
No, dude. You got to just go out there and be like, dude, I had a full-fledged meltdown and I got pissed.
That's what you say.
Yeah. Well, okay. All right, man. My better at life this week is for the Shawshank Redemption.
The movie?
Why? Yes. Why? Because I travel a lot for my job, and I'm all, out on the road all the time. I don't really have TV at home for the most part, but so the only time I really get to watch cable is when I'm on the road, and it's almost impossible to find something on cable TV. Like there's so much unlimited diarrhea on cable TV. It's almost impossible to watch all these crap reality TV shows, garbage news channels, just again, unlimited diarrhea.
Unlimited diarrhea. Unlimited.
But there is an oasis in the storm of unlimited diarrhea on the cable channels. Almost every time I go, everywhere I go, anytime I can flip on the TV and somewhere on some channel, The Shawshank Redemption is on and gives me that oasis. Something I can turn on and watch and not be offended by, read some email, read some articles, things like that. And it even ends with him wading through unlimited diarrhea.
Unlimited diarrhea. Unlimited.
To get to freedom. It's an uplifting, amazing story. It's well done. It's one of the American masterpieces when it comes to movies. And so, to The Shawshank Redemption, thanks for always being there. And you are better at life than Skip Bayless.
On the IMDb top 100 greatest movies of all time. See, this fits right in with this season, Adam. Shawshank Redemption, number 2.
How in the hell is it number 2? What is number 1?
The Godfather, which might be one of the more overrated movies of all time.
I was going to say, I'm going to have to humbly disagree with that. Godfather's a very good movie, but that's never been in one of my all-time greats.
No, I wouldn't put it in my top 10.
Maybe in my top 15. I don't know. But it's not.
I don't know.
I've seen a lot of other movies that I like better than The Godfather. Let's just put it to you that way.
Probably Godfather Nation's going to be out for us now.
Yeah, you're going to wake up with a horse head in your bed. Just remember, that was Brandon's critique of The Godfather right there.
That's true.
Brandon's.
You know what?
Brandon Schultz.
Godfather, Shawshank, Schindler's List, number 3. I think I've only seen Schindler's List once in high school when it came out, when we had to go for school.
That's the only time I've seen it too. I don't think it was good. I just don't think I needed to watch that over and over again,
Yeah. Raging Bull, number 4. Casablanca, number 5. I do like Casablanca.
Okay, I get that. Yeah.
Citizen Kane, Gone with the Wind. Why are all these movies from the 30s and 40s?
I don't know, but V for Vendetta needs to be on that list.
Wizard of Oz, number 8.
Oof.
It was a good movie. Wizard of Oz holds up, dude.
Yeah, it does. I was talking with my buddy Alec, who comes and grinds wheels with me, about movies like sci-fi movies and just looking back at digital effects in movies over time and whether or not they kind of hold up. Because there's some movies you watch and you're just like, oh, God, you thought it was awesome when it came out. And then you watch it and it's like, oh, God, that was cheesy as all get out.
Yeah.
But one that is surprisingly held up well, especially for its era, is the original Star Wars, the very first Star Wars.
Oh, sure. Alien, another one.
Absolutely. Yeah. Surprisingly holds up well in the graphics department.
Yeah. No, V for Vendetta, not on here, Adam. And that's, I know your love for Natalie Portman. And
oh, man.
It probably boosts it up on the list for you. But yeah.
Yeah. I forgot to propose to Natalie this week. I do it every week, and I forgot to this week. So, Natalie, would you marry me? We'll see what she has to say. She's playing coy. She's playing hard to get. That's what I think.
She'll come around eventually.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Braveheart should be higher on this list.
Watched a little Braveheart on this trip as well. That's another one that's always seemingly on. And yeah, it's a little harder to watch with Mel these days.
Yeah. But yeah. When it came out, though.
Oh, yeah. When it came out, it was, yeah.
You know, a movie I've watched a lot of lately and that I really like, Greatest Showman.
I'm out, dude.
Not a musical guy?
Catfish! Fucking hate musicals. We've talked about this.
I know we have.
Anything in a sing-song voice. Nobody does that.
My kids freaking love that movie.
I bet they do.
And I love it too.
That's because you're dead on the inside.
My Better at Life this week. A duo better at life. Matt Hasselbeck, Mike Holmgren. 2 former Seahawks inducted into the Northwest Football Hall of Fame's class of 2018. And really, that's all I need to say is those 2 guys.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. How's the fragile back and the big show,
the big show
making it in? Yeah,
Holmgren, the big show is, and talk about dudes with strong mustaches too. I mean, he could be in the Mustache Hall of Fame if he's not already with Tom Selleck.
He should at least be an honorable mention, right?
Right.
Yeah.
He gets in before Andy Reid gets in.
Yep. Agreed.
But yeah, seeing those guys, gosh, you know, the Seahawks all-time leading passer, Mike Holmgren, the first coach to get the Seahawks to a Super Bowl. Both those guys.
How many Hall of Fames does there need to be, though? Like the Northwest Football Hall of Fame? Is there a Southwest? Is there a Northeast?
Yeah, there's a lot of Hall of Fames. Isn't there like I think there was a Bay Area Hall of Fame. Because did you see the, who was it? Brandi Chastain?
But do they have I mean, is there a soccer like Hall of Fame for like people that played on the national team but didn't necessarily play in those European leagues?
I don't know. I think just because
if there's not another Hall of Fame for somebody like Brandi Chastain to like go into, like I'm okay, you know, with her going into the Bay Area
Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she's from San Jose, so I think this is interesting. She was inducted into the National Soccer Hall of Fame in 2017, and in 2018, the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame decides to put her in. Like, aren't you kind of behind? Aren't you kind of behind it? The times then, if the Soccer Hall of Fame's beating you to it.
Yep.
Did you see her plaque? The Bay Area Hall of Fame.
No.
Oh my gosh! Do you have your tablet in front of you? Can you Google Brandi Chastain Hall of Fame?
Is it her on her knees with the, you know, when she's doing the celebration after the goal?
No.
Because my tablet's not working.
Okay.
Right now, so.
No, it wasn't though. Yeah, because that's the moment she's remembered for, right? Ripping off her shirt and flexing as they win the cup. Mm-hmm. No, it's just the whoever the artist was that did her plaque.
Not a great rendition.
No, unless you think that Brandi Chastain has a resemblance to people like Babe Ruth or.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, here's someone saying, I see Babe Ruth with Robert Redford's hair.
This sounds unfortunate.
That's clearly Carroll O'Connor or Gary Busey after falling into a sewer.
Wow.
Yeah. When somebody says it looks like Peter King. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So,
okay.
It did. Yeah. Because Brandi Chastain, not a bad looking human.
No, not at all.
And that's a group of humans that are not good looking.
No. They're more in my classification where Brandi Chastain should be in a whole, you know, like we should be in different groupings, right?
Right. All right, man. Kind of got off track there with my Better at Life, but to close it out, Mike Holmgren, Matt Hasselbeck, better at life than Skip Bayless. I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.